Hey everybody, what is going on? Maxx here, got another Master Duel video, and wow, do we have a lot to talk about today. So, I was actually just about to go to bed when, before I logged out of Master Duel, I saw a little exclamation point in the notifications. It was an upcoming Forbidden Unlimited list. I decided to click on it and check it out, and it's a big one. There's a lot to talk about. I haven't seen the whole thing, because I scrolled down and saw one certain change that you're gonna know it when you see it. And I knew I had to just start hitting the record button ASAP. So I'm not gonna waste any time. We're gonna get right on into it. So for the expected date of February 5th, which by the way we can also assume is when our next pack will be out, because those dates usually coincide ban list and pack releases. We have this new Forbidden Limited list. So we're going to start off with 2 cards to be forbidden, which are Secret Village of the Spellcasters and Summon Limit. The former going from 3 to 0, the latter going from 1 to 0. Cards to be limited, Anti-Spell Fragrance going from 2 to 1. Now, here's where the big one comes in. And you might be thinking, on a semi-limit, really? Maxx C! Maxx C going from 3 to 2. We'll talk about this in a second, but other changes, Songen Kaiman going from 3 to 2. Nightmare Throne going from 3 to 2. And as far as cards being unlimited, we have Morphing Jar, Cyber Jar, Alibur, the Jester of Despia, Bestial Saronir, that's actually pretty huge, Destiny Hero Celestial, and a branded opening. Alright, let's take it from the top. Let's start with the bans. So, Secret Village of the Spellcasters and Summon Limit, both pretty widely regarded as unfun floodgates to play against. The prominence of Secret Village, I think, started coming about after Dragoon. Well, not just after Dragoon came unbanned. There have been many different decks that have utilized Secret Village to lock opponents out of play before, right? Dragoon is a prominent reason why we've seen more Secret Village. I don't think Dragoon is the reason that Village got banned by itself, but I think it was the final nail in the coffin. There were just enough ways for this card to be just a little bit too consistent. And, you know, I'm also thinking that this is yet another casualty of Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, isn't it? I think between that and Terraforming, we have seen that searching field spells is a little bit too accessible. And I'm almost thinking that there's going to come a point where Rainbow Bridge of Salvation really has to be considered whether or not that card needs to go. Now, granted, the casualties of it so far, Pearl Rhino and Secret Village, I don't think are unwarranted bans outside of Rainbow Bridge, but we do have to think about Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. I really think we do. Summon Limit. This is a very splashable floodgate. That's the thing too. This floodgate is so splashable. Oh my god. Even in a best of one format, decks like Voices Voice can very easily play this and like be able to make their own plays under it after establishing a board, but more importantly, they establish a board and then set this and then flip it. In that regard, this is kind of like you can play this in anything, but it's more of a going first card. So definitely understandable why it's banned. Anti-Spell Fragrance. I think this is getting limited because of Diabells. Well, no, because this is the same kind of effect as Diabells, right? So it doesn't like, yeah. I don't know. It's another Floodgate hit, which I'm generally fine with. I don't think anybody in particular is complaining about a hit like this. Alright. Let's talk about the level 2 Earth Insect in the room, huh? Maxx C from 3 to 2. I mean, we all kind of expected this, given that the OCG did the same thing after Molcharmbi Fuelos came out. But, it is pretty revolutionary. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Is it? It is and isn't, right? I don't know if this is a precedent for the fact that Maxx C will end up at some point in time going to 0. But here's the thing, right? in the past, to a degree, I think Konami has almost used Master Duel as a bit of a bandless testing grounds, and I think if there were a format between Master Duel and the OCG where Maxx C were to go to 0 first, there's a decent shot it would be Master Duel. So, who knows, right? That could be me being very optimistic. I don't know. It's funny. I've said this in the past, and I do think this is true, that in a lot of ways, the OCG, I think, uses semi-limiting sometimes to, like, signal to players that, like, hey, we have this card on our radar, just heads up, right? Like, when they put SP Little Knight to 2, and then 1 on, like, the next ban list, Little Knight to 2, everybody knew didn't matter at all. Like, most decks played 1, only some played the second one. But I think that Little Knight to 2 was more than anything else an indicator from Konami that, hey, we have this card on our radar. Now, I think it'd be a lot more effective if they just, like, said that. But, I don't know. At the same time, you know, we've definitely seen what can happen when too much communication is bad. Well, it's not even, you know, of course I'm referring to the debacle in the TCG during the Dino Rabbit Insector format where they only banned synchro plant stuff. That wasn't a matter of the communication being poor, it's just that, well, I should say it's not the fact that there was too much communication was the issue. It's that the communication didn't clearly convey the message, which to players was that we're essentially rotating the format. Anyway, long story short, Maxx C to 2 could have been something, might mean nothing. It's really up in the air. Nobody can really say at this point. I definitely think that fewer Maxx Cs in the format is better. Like, I don't think anyone's gonna really argue against that. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I think more than anything else, Maxx C to 2 means that more decks are going to be playing Maxx C and Fuelos than before. Like, I don't think that Maxx C to 2 necessarily overall reduces the amount of those types of effects going off, if you consider Maxx C and Fuelos to be the same type of effect. I mean, there are some decks that still don't have room for Fuelos that will just go down to 2 Maxx C, but a lot of meta decks, I think, that were not playing Fuelos before can cut 2 more cards or go up to 41/2 to play Fuelos, right? I don't think that's that big of an ask for the most part. But we'll have to see how it plays out. Songen Kaiman from 3 to 2. Yeah, I mean, this is completely fine with me. I think that most people would agree that Tenpai is still a little bit too consistent, and it seems that Konami agrees as well. I don't know if we're going to see many Tenpai hits after this. If Tenpai still needs to be hit, I could see this going from 2 to 1. But I think the consistency blows have probably been enough. I mean, we'll see. At a certain point, the consistency hits do actually get to be enough where the deck just struggles to function. And we'll have to see if this ends up being the time where Tenpai hits that point. Nightmare Throne from 3 to 2. Ugh, Spright catching all these strays from Yubel hits. Just give us Nimble Beaver back to 3 and it'll be fine, Konami. Anyway. Yeah, I think that this is... I get it. I don't know. I don't love it, but I get it. Yubel is still one of the better decks in the format. And I've said this on the channel many times before, and I'll stand by this opinion that consistency hits do ultimately matter, especially in a best, more than anywhere else in a best of 1 format. Oh my goodness. So this and Gates and a Becking Beast all being at 2 really do affect Yubel a lot more than you might think. It's just really unfortunate this also affects Spright. Oh, I literally just recorded a Spright video earlier tonight. I'm still gonna put it out. It's fine, but anyway. Brutal. For Spright. As far as Yubel goes, I think this is a fine hit. I also don't think Yubel is such an unfair deck that it needs more hits than this. Like, yeah, it's the best deck right now, and of course it'll definitely benefit from whenever Fiendsmith ends up coming out, but I think Yubel will pretty naturally be power crept from being the best deck in the format relatively soon. So I think it's fine to give them pretty minor hits for the time being. Unlimits, Morphing Jar. I'm pretty sure I said in my very recent ban list video, where we went through the whole Master Duel ban list and determined what could be unbanned, that yeah, Morphing Jar is completely fine at 3, Empty Jar is too slow, Cyber Jar is completely fine at 3, Empty Jar is too slow. Aliber, yeah, Aliber being at 3 I think is fine. Like, Branded has... It's funny, Branded has remained what I would consider to be tier 2, but I think it's definitely slipped from, like, upper tier 2, almost tier 1, down to, like, lower tier 2. Aliber and Branded opening, each of these cards going to 3, I think are both very good for the deck. Sarnier going to 3, okay. Because everyone's going to talk about Maxx C, I think this will be end up being, one of the most overlooked aspects of this ban list. But I think Sarnier going from 1 to 3 is huge. It's huge for Branded. It matters for Dragon Link. Bestial decks in general like this, but this matters a lot. Definitely keep an eye on Sarnier and decks that especially benefit from it, like Branded and Dragon Link. And then what was the last one? Oh, Destiny Hero Celestial. So... I was actually thinking about this card recently. Well, again, it was the recent ban list video, right? We kind of speculated on if Celestial really even need to stay banned, because, like, are people even really splashing the DPE engine en masse anymore? No, the answer is definitely no. Everyone who's doing it is doing it for Dragoon. DPE is arguably better than Dragoon anyway. I think a little more than arguably. That's something that a lot of people tend to overlook, is the fact that, like, they see the Dragoon be an Omni Negate and they're like, ooh, shiny Omni Negate. But DPE, 1, a pop is not that much worse than an Omni Negate. 2, the materials going to the graveyard matter a lot more for DPE. And the decks that can utilize that really, really benefit off it. Stuff like Phantom Knight, stuff like Orcus decks. So Celestial being unbanned and going straight to 3, 1, makes a lot of sense. 2, I don't even know if this is straight up better than Denier. That's kind of what I was about to get at there, is that, like, if you send Mally and Denier, you, like, guaranteed get more bodies. If you send Mally and Celestial, you, if you're lucky, might get to draw 2 cards, and then that might end up mattering. But I almost think Denier is just better, and I think that's kind of why Celestial's being unbanned here. I think at the time this card was banned, this hit mattered quite a bit. But nowadays, I completely understand this card going from 0 to 3. And I mean, it won't... Like, think about it. Like, do you really think that this card going from 0 to 3 will affect DPE and how often it's played? No, the answer is of course not. Of course not. So yeah, it makes complete sense. So what do I think of this ban list overall? Floodgate hits are definitely very good. I like this quite a bit. Sangen Kaiman and Nightmare Throne hits are good. I think they're both quite good. Maxx C hit is of course great. This card being at any fewer number is phenomenal. What does this mean for Master Duel's future? We can only guess, like I said before. I mean, this is exactly the same as it is in the OCG now, so there's really no indication. And of course, it makes sense that this would happen now a month about after Fuelos has been released. I'm optimistic, again, that there is some possibility that Master Duel could be the testing grounds for a format, well, another format without Maxx C. Oh my god. Here's the thing. If Master Duel actually ends up banning Maxx C, the TCG stands will have nothing to say anymore, because then the TCG will have nothing on Master Duel's format whatsoever. This is like the last dying breath that people who cling to the idea that TCG ban list is superior are on, is that the format doesn't have Maxx C. And I do, I will agree with them that it is pretty great that TCG doesn't have Maxx C. It's a shame the TCG list is god-awful in a lot of very egregious ways, right? Oh my god. I really want... Is it bad that more than to not play with Maxx C, I want Maxx C to go to 0 just to have that gratification? Oh, that's good. But, all right. Yeah, I think that's about all the thoughts I have on this ban list. But what do you think? Definitely let me know in the comments below. This is one of the bigger ban lists we've had in quite some time. I think there could have been no other changes besides just this, and it still would have been one of the bigger ban lists we've had in quite some time. But I'm eager to hear what you all have to say about it below. I'm just going to hurry up and get this one out right away. So I don't even think this will be tomorrow's upload. I think I'm literally going to upload this tonight, like right after I'm done hitting the record button here. So I'm not going to do my usual outro, so I'll say it here. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. Thank you so much, by the way, to the Patreon subscribers as well as the YouTube members. If you're interested in supporting the channel in that way, there's more information in the description below. On Patreon, we post every single day an exclusive upload. All of the Patreon videos are only on that platform. You cannot find them on YouTube. So if you want that, or if you're interested in our coaching tier, definitely check out patreon.com/hexlex. If you want to support here on YouTube and see every upload early before it goes live for everybody else, then definitely click that join button next to subscribe below here on YouTube. But that'll be all for this one. This is Hexlex. I am signing out, and also hoping that you have a fantastic day.